Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be having our first impressions of Posthuman by Harm's Way. So, I'm going to be honest, I know little to nothing about this band. Vile checked out the single that they had called Become a Machine yesterday. He saw the music video, sent it to me, and we're both thinking, holy shit, these guys sound crazy, so why not check out the album that's just about to come out?
Yeah, honestly, this was the first I've ever heard of them as well. I didn't know this band existed. They've been around for a while, apparently. They got a few albums under their belt. But yeah, I just never heard of them. They kind of just, I guess, flew under my radar. But yeah, I saw the video posted yesterday, checked it out. I was like, oh man, this is heavy shit. This really pounds. So sent it to Fish. We're like, well, we got nothing to review today. Album drops today. Let's check it out. So yeah, like I said, they got a few albums under their belt. They're from Chicago, hardcore metal band. Really aggressive, really high octane, crazy in your face kind of stuff. At least based off the first single that we heard. But yeah, we're gonna go listen to Posthuman for the first time in its entirety from front to end. And we will be back in just a little bit with our first impressions to let you guys know what we thought of it. Stay tuned.
Alright guys, welcome back. We just listened to Posthuman by Harm's Way in its entirety, and I'm going to open up the floor with what I thought of the album. This album was better than I expected. Now, we already said that we really liked Become a Machine. That song was great, that song was pumping, that song very nice, but the only thing I feared is that what if, you know, it's the kind of hardcore metal album where every song blends in and, you know, you've heard the shtick before. That was one thing that was in my head when we were starting this album. I was surprised. A lot of the songs in this album are unique in how the rhythm goes and how much it changes. You know, a song like Becoming a Machine, the rhythm changes a lot. It's very, yeah. Like it goes back and forth between a bunch of different things, and it really keeps it alive, and it keeps you interested. Like, oh, they're doing that now. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's that. And it keeps you guessing. And I saw that through multiple songs on this album. But if I were to talk about probably my least favorite, it might be Dead Space, which is the last track, track number 10. It's a good case of, I don't know what to say about this song. I feel like a lot of what I said about other songs applies to this one too. You know, I said not exactly jumping at me, but it's not terrible. It's still a great groove. It's still an enjoyable groove that's fun to listen to, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table like other songs are. So I didn't really see anything very noteworthy about that track. But I feel overall there were more tracks that were notable than ones that weren't. And that's a really good sign, especially for a hardcore metal album. Because with generally with hardcore metal, you kind of find some instances of things just sounding the same.
Yeah,
like exactly the same.
It's not a very diverse genre on its own.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you've heard one, you've heard it all type of thing. But I do agree, this band did a good job, at least on this album, at making each song stand out and have its own identity.
So, one of my highest rated songs was Temptation. One of my favorite things about this song is the fact that it's such a good tone change from the first three. The first three were high action, lots of energy, in your face, you know, as assumed from what we've already heard from this band. But Temptation brings it all the way down. A sick sounding bass line is going through this song. So eerie, and then, you know, it ramps up at the end, you know, to kind of give you like a last hurrah to go into the next track. It's a really well made track, and it's a great change of pace. A lot of albums will have your first few tracks, like 2 or 3, and then afterwards have kind of a chill track, one that brings it all down and kind of makes it different. And sometimes it catches the listener way too off guard and tones it down too much. This was a perfect execution of toning it down but still keeping it fresh. I think Temptation, great track for that. Very well done.
True.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, you mentioned that this album exceeded your expectations. I have to say that it actually didn't quite meet my expectations. I found that Become a Machine, the single, is a very strong song. It's actually my highest rated song on the album. I really like the rhythmic and melodic patterns in that song. The breakdown in that song I think is the best on the whole album. Just the energy of it, I just really like that song. But the rest of the album, like you took a lot of the words out of my mouth about how kind of diverse each song is and how each song kind of does its own thing and it doesn't all just blend in and sound like the same thing. But to an extent, I still felt that way. I rated a lot of my songs the same. A lot of them I kind of just gave just basically average scores and wrote the same notes for a lot of songs. Now, even though, you know, the rhythmic patterns were different and, you know, the riffing was different and they all had their own unique style to them, they all still fell in the same kind of bowl to me. They felt in the very same style, and it almost felt like I was listening to the same song over and over again, with the exception of a few. You mentioned Temptation, that is one that did stand out. Another one that stood out to me, but not in a good way, unfortunately, was The Gift, which is the 9th track on the album. That song, it almost seemed like a waste of a track to me, because it starts off and it's kind of like got this industrial type of sound to it, I found. And it goes through that a little bit, and then it's not even really a full, complete song. Like, I don't think it really has.
It's kind of like a weird mesh of stuff happening, and then the band comes in and it's a little iffy. I found it was kind of right in line with Temptation, like a similar vibe.
It is.
And I welcomed that because it was another good change of pace, but it wasn't as effective because Temptation already did it.
And Temptation was also a full song, like
yes.
a full, complete song. The Gift didn't feel like a full song. It felt like maybe like an interlude track, right? Which, I mean, this album's pretty short, 34, 35 minutes long.
Yeah, about.
You don't really need a song like that. Another song that I really did like, though, was Call My Name. Now, the notes I have written here don't really tell me much about what the song is or what it's about, but I just wrote that it's got really rad grooves, and it pounds. Yeah, it pounds.
It pounds.
A lot of the songs pound. But the patterns, I found that the structure of the song stood out among the other songs, and it just had a little bit more there, a little bit more flair that I was able to get into. But yeah, the rest of them, man, I'm like pretty much similar notes for all of them. A couple songs had interesting intros, a couple had interesting outros. You know, the breakdowns were all kind of on par with other hardcore bands. Like, nothing really stood out to me that much except for Become a Machine. I think that breakdown was just a little touch above the rest. But all in all, I did enjoy it. You know, we're gonna listen to it for the full week in its entirety, over and over again, shuffling it, doing whatever. And I'm gonna look at some of the lyrics because I want to know what these guys are singing about, because, you know, they remind me a lot of Hatebreed. They're like Hatebreed on steroids. And Hatebreed is a band that I really love and respect their lyrics because, you know, I think I've mentioned this on this channel before, but Hatebreed's a band that, even though they, on the surface, they come across as like negative and aggressive, their message is actually very positive and uplifting, which I really enjoy that aspect of Hatebreed. Now I want to know if these guys have a similar message in their lyrics. I have no idea, but I'm going to check it out and see what I can find. But that's pretty much all I got to say for a first impression. So we will be back next week with a full and final review of Posthuman from Harm's Way. So be sure to like this video. Let us know if you guys listen to this album and what you think of it. And yeah, be sure to comment below. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll be back next week. So stay tuned. Keep it locked. Later.